All right, I'm on hole number 9 of the Holiday Hills tournament. I'm in Monday's practice round in the rookie division. Just going out here. Today's goal is to figure out exactly what driver and what ball I want to use. And I can tell you on this hole right here, I'm a big fan of bringing out a very accurate club to get through this neck. I mean, look at the entire fairway. This fairway pad, this one, all of these different fairway pads, and the narrowest part is right here, and that's where we're trying to run our ball up through. And if you could get way up in there, it's not a big problem because you can hit past it. But we're engaging it in this area, so we're running through and we're having to run through it. That's one problem. The other problem is that from the tee box, this is a straight line through it. So if you're trying to make your ball do this and you're trying to put some movement on your ball, and here's your landing spot, and you hit it great on the inside, guess what? It's still going to go out here. You hit it great on the left, it's still going to go out here. You're still going to end up in pretty much exactly the same spot. But when you're hitting a shot straight forward and you hit it great to the left, you're going to go great to the left. I mean, there's no movement on the ball. There's nothing to make the ball not go to the left, and you're going to end up in this sand. Hit it great to the right, you're going to end up out here. So it takes a perfect shot on this unless you bring a 100% accurate club. Now, here's the thing with 100% accurate clubs and not using any overpower is your landing zone is going to be out in this area right here. You're going to leave a lot of stuff on the table. The best opportunity you have for Albie is to be able to get your red line up in here with a sniper, so you've got great ball guide and you can really bring that sucker to the hole. But if you're back in this area, you're going to have a very small window down here that you can hit with your extra mile. You're going to have to use a lot of topspin, and you're not going to have as good a look. So there's a lot of people that are going to come to this hole that this is going to ruin their round at the very end. And I want to make sure that I get an eagle on this hole every time. So I don't necessarily want to put on a bunch of overpower to get out here. I want to take the wind out. If I remember correctly, the wind is blowing in this direction. Maybe it's blowing in this direction. I'm going to take the wind out, and then I'm going to put the forward movement back in. So I'm taking the side wind out, but putting all of the power back in. I can do just a little teeny bit of rubbing up against the nub, not enough overpower that it makes the needle go any faster, but maybe like a ring of overpower when you're pushing up against the nubs. If I bring a rock, especially if your rock hits farther than your quarterback, this is a great opportunity for a rock. A quarterback does have a little bit more topspin on it than a rock, so you kind of weigh which one's going to get you net you the more distance. I think if you have 4 power balls in your collection, this is a great opportunity to bring out a 4 power ball, because you may still end up in this area here, but on the other side, it's going to push that red line up, and you're going to get a little bit more depth over here so that you can get a better look at the hole. The other way to do it is to put on a little bit of overpower so that you can get out here in the clear. And that's fine when you're doing one-on-one. You're trying to get out here so that you can give yourself a really good look at it. But when you're playing in tournaments, the whole deal is that you do not want to end up your round getting a birdie on a hole like this because you ended up out here, because you got no shot if you end up in trouble. Now, if you end up really short out here and you can't get to this fairway, you can engage from over here, and you can do a max overpower hook shot by coming out into this range and doing a max overpower hook shot to try and get you up closer to the green so that you can get a shorter chip. So there is a way to recover by doing that max overpower hook. But ideally, we want to be up there far enough that we can engage over here and run up to the green. I really think that it's probably the best bet if you want consistency is to not do the overpower here. Bring an accurate club. Take your lumps as far as distance, but bring a bigger ball that will help you out on the other side. I'm going to demo it today with a Titan, a rock, and a sniper, and show you what it looks like when you are back in the back, on what that read looks like. So I'm not going to put a lot of overpower on. I'm just going to let it kind of go where it goes without overpowering it. Titan, the king of balls. I only have a few power 4 balls, so this is my practice account, so I don't keep a big selection of balls in here. I always like to come to these holes and see what I can get done with the balls that we buy in the store. I mean, if you watch my stuff on a regular basis, I don't have no problem bringing out bigger balls. If that's what the hole takes, then that's what the hole takes. It's not my fault that Playdemic made the hole so that if you use a 4-power ball, you don't have to do any overpower, and if you do a 3-power ball, you have to do overpower to get it up there. But if you can get it done with a 3-power ball and you don't have to use a 4-power ball, then why wouldn't you? Okay, so 4-2. So I'm going to take the side wind out. There's 4-2, and then I'm going to put the power back in. So I'm putting the forward distance back in. I'm going to rub up against the nub, so I've got just a little bit, but it's not making the needle go any faster. Hitting it perfect. I'm just trying to pick up as much forward running distance as I can. And you can see how much I left on the table. So when we do this second shot, this is where the 4-power, I would have picked up a little more distance on that drive with a 4-power ball. But on the second shot is where that 4-power ball would really shine. Because I'm from that area right there with a sniper and a 3-power ball, I'm just going to have a very small window. And there's a lot of times when you're doing these shots and you're out in the clear where you can wing it on your adjustment for your driver. But when you've got such a narrow neck, I am a big fan of pulling the wind out, putting the forward movement back in so that you can kind of accurately take out that side wind. And you can see how much of a window I have here. Whereas if I had picked up more distance or brought a 4-power ball out, my red line would be up here and I can really get towards that hole. But I'm going to have to put on some topspin. Take 4-5 out. Here's 4. I'm only going to take 4 of it out. Now you can see how the rings were distorted down there. I do not, when you get into those situations, I do not follow the rings because the rings are distorted. I got some lag. The rings get distorted when it's on those edges like that. And if you go ahead and go, hey, it's a 4-ring pull, and you pull out 4 rings, that 4th ring was distorted. You could tell because of the size of the rings that were, your first 3 rings were like they're supposed to be, but the 4th ring, when it was going over the edge, was distorted right there, and you can't follow that distortion and think, well, hey, it's distorted, but it's still a ring. It's not. It was distorted by the contour of the course, so you've got to kind of extrapolate what the width of those rings, because you can end up over pulling. I see people do it all the time in one-on-one play. People will over pull in that area and end up clipping the rough. This is a low percentage Albie hole, but you do have a shot at Albie here, especially if you can get all the way up on that drive. It's just a risk versus reward. If you make it all the way up there and you used an extra mile, you use one of your big clubs so that you could really get that distance up there. Yeah, I'm going to miss this. So you get that distance up there, you do have an awesome shot at, because you can engage with your sniper a lot closer, so you can actually use some backspin. And whenever you're coming at these holes and you can use backspin, that means that you have a little bit more control of the ball. And from where it was right there, if I use a 3-power, if I use a Kingmaker, it's going to cut the wind down a little bit. So that means I'm going to lose a little bit of distance. But on the second shot, it would have been nice to have a little bit more side spin so that I could have brought it a little closer to the hole. I think what I'm going to do on this hole is I'm going to stick with the rock. I think that that's an absolutely safe shot to try and get up the chute. And I'm going to bring a 4-power ball to help me out with the second shot. And I will net some more distance on the drive. But it will really help me out on that second shot so that I can get up there and really engage my sniper with backspin, as opposed to trying to top spin and run it up to the hole. But that's a hole that's going to eat a bunch of people. There's a bunch of people that are going to completely destroy their round on that hole right there. And we want to make sure that when we go to that hole, our goal is to get eagle. It's even if you get up there in the top part, it's still a low percentage albie hole. But our goal on that hole, don't forget, our goal on that hole is to get an eagle. So we need to play for the eagle and give ourselves a shot at the albie. All right, that was hole number 9 of the Holiday Hills Tournament and Monday's practice round in the rookie division. Thanks for watching.